Okay, so you can't say I'm a sweet person, then say I threatened to cut off someone's head. By the way, they cut me off. You can't have it that way. You can't say I accuse you of rape and then say you can't picture anyone else with your children or whatever on the porch, whatever. You can't do it that way. You can't say that I didn't have a good time doing certain things and I have proof. You can't say that when I worked at a particular job, I was a problem when I wasn't. You can't have all those things. Then they said they're going to try to get revenge because criminals weren't able to involve me in their crimes. You can't do that. None of those things can be done. We're still America. The other big thing I want to talk about is that I still stand with Ukraine. People are dying. They're being killed. It's a crime. A free country should not be invaded. They're free. And if things like that can happen in a free country there, if things like that can happen in Palestine where children weren't given the medicine to avoid polio, we thought we eliminated polio, then there's a problem. It can't happen here because we have enough of the population that will not allow that to happen. And we are fighting every single person. They said they thought I would call us gang stalking stalkers. No, we aren't stalkers. I'm never going to use the word stalkers to describe us. They said, did I use the word stalker to describe myself? No, I had a picture on Pinterest of myself and I started to think of the title I wanted to call it. So I wanted to call this, and I did, Stalkers Will Be Exposed. And I put stalker. They said, oh, they're going to think you're a stalker. No one would think I'm a stalker. They would think that I'm starting this whole thing. So we're exposing stalkers. We are not stalkers. We are gang stalking victims. We are victims. And when you think of people like that, you start to realize that, and I did a video, victims are knowledgeable. We know the tactics that they use to suck us in. We know the setup. I know now that as a child, I was being targeted. They said the reason they targeted me, and this comes from the elementary school mate, is because I had a face shape like Lena Horne, and that my older relatives resemble Lena Horne. They're in coloring, in features. Yes, they did. And it's weird now as an adult, a 50-year-old, to look at pictures of them and say, boy, they do kind of resemble Lena Horne in the skin tone, in the features, in the squareness of our heads. So why does that matter? They said, oh, head shapes. We didn't think of head shape like that growing up, that a head shape would make you a certain race. They said that once you are, and I said this in a previous video and I quoted them, once you are mulatto, you're always mulatto, meaning a mulatto and a mulatto makes a mulatto. In this country, we don't think of it that way, which is I'm saying that they're talking about stuff that growing up I didn't know. So in their minds, if I am mixed and I mate with somebody, here we go again, and I mate with someone who's white, then that child isn't as black as I am. Isn't that the thing I said that they were offended by, the joke that I made, that there are degrees of blackness based on how much blackness you have? Again, they're just stealing my ideas and telling it back to me. And when I hear myself back, I'm like, that makes sense. That's the point. Okay, so the other point I wanted to make is, let me pause this and think. All right, so the other thing is I wanted to talk to you guys about frequencies and how frequencies are being used in medicine. And I'll link the TED Talk that talked about it. And in the video, he said the future of medicine is the medicine of frequencies, and that atoms are high frequency vibrations of energy. He talked about inflammation, and he talked anything that has energy running through it creates a magnetic field, which is us as people. So they kept saying, oh my goodness, there was a video where someone who had that magnetic reader, EMF reader, was able to find his frequency, and then they used it against them. And that's my point. I'm not sure. Years ago when this first started, there was a great gang stalking video, and he came into his home and he had such a high EMF reading